All right, we're live. Still figuring this out, so bear with me. Okay, this is very interesting. Just thank you guys for joining this live stream. Just wanted to talk directly to you and also answer some questions because I know you guys have some questions, and my eyes will divert different places, obviously, because I'm reading comments and doing some other things as well. But first and foremost, I just wanted to make sure everyone was safe and healthy and basically taking care of yourselves, because at this point, you know, not only with the virus, but also just people start acting strange and weird. And, I hope that we go the opposite way and are caring and look out for one another. But you never know in these times. People can become really selfish. And so just take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your friends, take care of the world, basically. We need good people out there. So hope you guys are safe. And if there is a loved one, or if you're feeling sick or whatever like that, I pray for you and hope that you do better. Let's see. I don't like doing monologues and talking. That's why I'm not an actor. Let's see. I'm seeing all these questions, so that's good. I do have questions coming up. Let me go. How am I doing? I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. My family's doing good. My daughter is eating right there. My wife is feeding her. It's just really difficult, obviously, being kind of locked down. Kind of have to plan ahead, and we're not as mobile as we can be because of Taylor, my daughter. But I know that it's worse in other places, so I have really no reason to complain right now. Let's see. The full version of why. Hold on, let me click on it actually. Will we ever be able to hear the full version of Michael's Why? I don't think there is a full version of Why where my uncle sings on it. We never heard it. If there was a version with Babyface, and Babyface was singing the leads. But I don't think there was a full version with my uncle singing the leads. That's why we haven't heard it as of yet. So we were basically going off of Babyface's vocals. Okay, let's see. I answered how yeah. Some of these questions are funny. How is everyone doing? I would, if you can post on the question thing, just how you're doing, where you're from and how you're doing, or where you're at right now and how you're doing. Okay. Happy to hear some people are doing fine. From Detroit, from Paris. Have you visited Neverland ever since Michael passed away? I went to Neverland with my wife for one of our anniversaries. Well, we didn't go to Neverland. We went to Solvang and spent the weekend at Solvang, and we did some wine tasting. And while we were on the tour, I saw Figueroa Mountain Road, and I realized how close I was to Neverland. And so we actually went to the gate and tried to get in, but we got denied. So it was a good try, but that's basically what happened. So it was bittersweet because it was good memories being there, but at the same time, it's a place that I lived at for about a year, and not to be able to visit it and see it again was pretty hard. Okay, let's see. Well, will we ever release the Lost album? The Lost album was a 3T album that basically was our follow up to Brotherhood, our debut album. And because of the war that my uncle was having with Sony, and we were on my uncle's label, we never got to release our follow up album. And so it was held for about 3 years, and we were held on Sony. And when we got released from Sony, we had to leave the album there. Now, saying that, when my uncle passed, we did get the album back. So we do own the album now, but we're trying to find the right time and to release it because it's so special to us. It's an album that my uncle helped produce. He heard every song on the album. He helped us pick the songs on the album. He gave us guidance. So it's not some an album that we just want to toss out to the world. We want it to be special. We missed the dreads. Yeah, I miss them too. I actually was going to put them in we had a show in France that was supposed to be in May, and I was going to put them in for that and keep them in probably for the whole year, but that didn't happen. The show is postponed for another year, so we'll see what happens. I love my hat too. I got this. Oh gosh, someone gave this to me, and it was hard because it was a lot of commotion. There's a lot of people around, and someone gave me the hat. And at that time, I had the braids, and I didn't think I needed the hat, but I was like, "Oh, thank you!" And I put it I attached it to my backpack and carried it back home. But now I love it. Now I understand why I have it, and it's one of the things that when I do interviews or whatever I do, I like to wear it because it reminds me of what I'm doing and who am I doing it for. And it just makes me feel closer to my uncle as well. So that's why I wear the hat so often. Let's see. I'm not skipping. I'm just trying to find it. It's going pretty fast. I'm just trying to be fair to. Do I think Robson and Safechuck are scared because of your upcoming doc? Um, I think they're scared just because they can't keep a story straight. Every time they do interviews, they contradict either what they said in a deposition or what they said in Leaving Neverland. So I think they've been told not to do any more interviews or talk because they contradict themselves. I think they should be just scared because the truth is going to come out. I think the truth is going to come out before the documentary is even released because there's still the court case that's happening. And I think they're going to get exposed there because the media might actually focus on the truth for once as opposed to sensationalism. Yeah, the truth has already come out. It's spreading the truth is the hardest thing because people are so distracted in this world, and rightfully so. What's going on now? But I'm talking about it's been a year, and my patience is kind of worn thin in terms of certain people. Certain people are trolls, and they just want to, say Michael is this or Michael is that, just to say it. So I don't really count those people, but there's people in the middle that really genuinely don't understand or don't know the facts and truth. And I thank you guys for helping to spread those facts with them, because I think that we're slowly getting to that point where I've always said the tide is turning, but I think it turns because more people learn the truth and more people educate those people. And so that's what we have to do. Brandy is doing fine. I talked to her about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. My time is so off, but she's doing fine. I mean, I haven't really updated since everything's happened, but I've talked to her and she's doing well. I can't really say what she's doing because I don't know if I'm supposed to. She's working somewhere and she's happy there. So, well, I mean, she was working there. When did I talk to Wade last? Gosh. I don't think I saw him at the memorial. It was at Havenhurst when he came to visit the kids with his mom. And I remember Joy saying that basically her biggest fear, I'll never forget it, being at Havenhurst and Joy saying her biggest fear was to lose contact with Michael's kids. And now I understand why. But Wade was there as well. Wade was just hanging out with the kids and stuff like that. Sorry, that's my daughter. So you're going to hear some. I might show her on the screen eventually as well. Let's see. It's not a bird. It's my daughter. Someone said it sounds like a parakeet. Do I plan on attending Brad's seminar in LA? Yes, I do. I am planning on that. I don't know if it was announced or not. I am. She does sound like a parakeet now that you guys are. She's going upstairs to go to sleep, which is what she's complaining about right now. Let's see. Taj, can you I'm still going through these questions because I want to hit as many as I can. Yeah, the world is waking up to the truth in all areas, which is good. What is my favorite memory of Neverland? I've had so many good memories there. Neverland was a place that I could close my eyes and probably walk through the whole place because I knew it so well. And it was such great memories and such great, I guess, just being there and staying there. It was like, it kind of made you feel not only happy, it was a magical place. And I don't know, believe it or not, during the 2005 trial, my uncle and I, we had some great memories there because it was such a horrible time. So we had to laugh. We had to watch Three Stooges. We had to bond. Well, my job, I felt, was to make sure he got through the trial in terms of mentally, because it was devastating to him. Obviously, something that you haven't done, and they're accusing you of it. But also, the world and pretty much the media wants to see you guilty. It takes a toll on you, and so. I never talked to him about the trial. I only talked to him and tried to keep him focused on the future in terms of we would talk about film and doing movies together and writing scripts. And he wanted me, it's funny because he wanted me to write a movie called Invisible Man, which it's not similar to the one that came out, but it was based on H.G. Wells's book. And so he gave me the book, and he wanted to star in it. I don't know if it was going to be a musical or what it was going to be, but we were working on that together. How is it doing music now than it was back then? The industry's completely changed. Back when we still are doing music. I almost had to catch myself. Back when we were doing music more predominantly, or whatever the word is, there's an art form to it in terms of like the CD package, the liner notes, and what was going to be in the booklet and all that stuff, and how were the lyrics going to look? Were they going to be, what font were you going to use, and all that stuff. So you really took pride in the package of it as well, besides just the music of it. I think now it's more of, and it's a lot quicker of an industry now, like where singles come out quicker, and I don't know, it's just a different time. I always tell my brothers and I tell other people that singles are like commercials now. They're just, or your album's pretty much a commercial for you. It's not really a statement of artistry anymore. I'm not saying there isn't art in the music industry. There's a lot of great songs right now. It's just that the priority is different in that way. And I was talking to my wife yesterday, and it's just, I feel like music, even like in the 60s and 70s, like music had more, and the word soul, I'm not using it for the style. I'm talking about the feeling of it. Like people sung with their soul. And I feel like that's missing. There are artists that still do that, but it's really missing in this industry. It's almost like cookie cutter, paint by numbers. Let's see. Did you ever see Michael record in the studio? Was he all visit? That was the problem with us when we went into the studio with him. He would always joke around, so we always slowed him down. That's why we didn't go into the studio a lot with him. Was he all business or no? With us, he was all fun. That was the problem. He joked around a lot. And yes, I saw my uncle record plenty of times. Me and my brothers, plenty of times. We were there for the recordings. We weren't there for Why because he had recorded that earlier. But I Need You, we were definitely there for. He was at Record One. We were at another studio, and it was literally less than, I would say, 5 minutes away. And so he popped by because he is the responsible of the reason why we had I Need You on our album. My brothers and I really didn't like the song because we heard a demo, and it just didn't attract us. We were like, well, we don't want the song on the album, and the record company really wants it. Or Ken Commissar, who's the A&R guy, I'll give him credit. He really heard something in the song, and so my uncle heard it. He's like, yeah, you need this. This is a world song. You need songs like this. And so he popped by the studio just to see how it was going, and it was Dennis Pop and Max Martin, which you guys probably know who Max Martin is now. They produced the song, and Max and Dennis convinced my uncle to sing on it. We never even asked or whatever, and so my uncle sung the tail end of it. He sung the outro or whatever, and it was amazing. And he had just done a rock song. So he was apologizing because his voice was hoarse even before he started singing. And that was one take in I Need You that he did. And the funny thing about Why, when he recorded Why as well, the very end, that is him in the studio with us. Everything else he had previously recorded, like the backgrounds and stuff like that. But the very end line that he sings when we all do our Tell Me Whys, he came in late because he didn't know when he was supposed to come in. So we do one line, then, or I don't even know the order, but whoever does is the order. And then we point to him, and he runs to the microphone, and that line that he does that's one take. That's him catching up to being late. But the way he did it, the talent, and not only the talent, just the brilliance of it. It was just amazing to me. Okay, sorry. I know I'm talking a lot, but trying to. Could you post on your channel a video with when you were on? I don't have many videos. I mean, we filmed a lot. The problem is that we lost a lot of our stuff in storage. There's an auction of our storage, which was a horrible memory, a Vegas auction, and we lost a lot of stuff. Personal stuff, not only my stuff of videos and stuff like that, but we lost a lot of our mom's stuff, and it went to auction. So yeah, we don't have some certain things. We're still trying to track down certain videos because obviously videos are memories, and it was such a great time. I would love to see more videos of us with our uncle. Okay, let's see. I would love for someone to buy Neverland. I think I don't personally have the money to buy Neverland. If I had the money to buy Neverland, I would buy it in a heartbeat. It wouldn't even be a question. But Neverland means something to everyone differently. So let me see. I'm going to try and change this to. Hold on. I think I can change it to the point where I make the comments smaller, so that you guys can kind of see me better. But yeah, so yeah, I think with Neverland, I think let's see. Yeah, there we go. Let's do that. That might be better. I love Neverland. I would buy it in a heartbeat. I don't know if we're allowed to make it into a museum or something like that because of the laws there. And I know my uncle wanted to have a museum with all his stuff. I know that that was an ideal thing for him with all his clothes and stuff like that. And the rest I can't answer. I don't know the answer to that. I wish I did. I don't know enough about state stuff to answer if the kids will take it over or not in the future. I don't know that answer. Okay. Will their lies be brought out? I'm hoping that because they're going to be under oath, and I think that the state lawyers are very good lawyers, and they'll definitely catch Wade and James in a bunch of lies. And I mean, their case has already been thrown out a couple of times because of their lies. So I don't see why this should be any different. If anything, they've contradicted themselves even more. And they're in a timeline that they have to commit to because of leaving Neverland. Okay, let's see. Yes, this estate, we've been talking about it. And what I really would love for them is helping with the licensing of it, because that's where it becomes really costly and stuff like that. And that they're focused right now on the James and Wade court case, rightfully so. But yeah, they've in the very beginning they reached out, and then I saw something on Twitter where they said they were willing to help and stuff like that. So, I'm excited about that. But at the same time, this is my project that I'm doing in honor of my uncle with the help of you guys, and I want to make sure that priority is my uncle in that way, in terms of getting not only his personality across, but debunking the lies that have been with us for 30 years by courtesy of the media. Let's see. I don't know how backed up I am. Oh, I'm about 10 minutes backed up. Okay. Why do I think the media will focus on you? I think the media does whatever makes them the most money. And I think there's going to be a time period where the truth and being pro Michael, just like it was in 2009, made more sense to them. So everyone jumped on the bandwagon. I think the media is like that, where if it makes more sense for them to be on the side of being pro Michael and spreading the truth, they'll do that. They'll do whatever makes them the most clicks or the most money. And I think that is the time that we're living in now, that the pro Michael stuff is generating more clicks and more likes than the negative stuff is. Yeah, they are. That I was thinking about that. I was in the shower and I was thinking about that, especially, I mean, I don't know James well at all. I've never met him, but Wade, I was thinking, reminding me a lot of her, of Amber Heard in the way, because I've been researching in terms of the depositions and everything, and the entitlement, the narcissism, everything about it. It's very similar. They could be sisters and brothers. And they can't keep the truth, and they twist it and they change their narrative depending on where the wind blows. Let's see. We've talked about it. I don't want to force them to be in it, and it's something that they have to want to do. And it's not that they don't want to defend their dad. It's very, very personal to them, and it's very hard for them. And I have to respect that. I grew up as a tiger, as a lion, defending my uncle. I've done it for my whole life, so it's something that's easy for me because I'm the eldest grandson, and I've had all this experience, media training and all that stuff from 3T back in the day and stuff like that. So it's a different vibe for them. It's extremely personal, and I don't want to. I'm very cautious with my family and just intruding in that way. Now, if they want to be in it and they're asking to be in it, 100%. will there we ever see another 3T album? We better. Uh, the anniversary of Brotherhood was coming up in November. Let me see the math. What are we into? The 25th anniversary of Brotherhood, of the Brotherhood album, because Brotherhood was released in 1995 November. So we were planning on doing something special for that, but this has kind of not the documentary, but the coronavirus thing has kind of pushed things different direction. And one thing I do want to say is, I know a lot of people don't know anything about me, but I'm more like my uncle. I have many things going on at the same time. Doesn't mean I'm neglecting anything. I'm very good at managing certain things and making sure everything's moving like it should move. Which horror movies did I watch with my uncle? I like your icon too. I 100%. I can tell you which ones I definitely watched with them. And we watched The Omen. We watched The Exorcist. Exorcist was the first scary movie I've watched, and my uncle. We watched it at Havenhurst. My brothers and my uncle. I fell in love with it because it was terrifying, but I also enjoyed that feeling. I was like, oh my gosh, movies can do that to you. And so Exorcist, and then The Omens. I don't know if I watched. I know I watched the first one, the Gregory Peck one. I'm not sure if I watched the second one with him or not. We talked about a lot the Omen 1, 2, and 3, but I don't know if I watched the second one with him. I know I watched the first one with him, but yeah, he got me kind of hooked on horror movies, I would say. Oh, sorry. And we definitely watched American Werewolf in London. He made sure we watched that. The project is going really well. I am doing everything I can to do stuff that doesn't require going out and interviewing people right now. So it's a lot of kind of creative stuff that I can do at home, but I don't want to prolong the documentary in terms of making it. I'm still trying to be on schedule with it, so I'm trying to do everything I can that doesn't require other people right now. But it's going extremely well. But it's also why I'm so excited about it, is because the narrative just in the world has been changing in certain things. Just people are starting to wake up to the truth of certain things, and also I feel like even with Corey Feldman's documentary, it's like there's a stark difference between Michael Jackson and other things that are going on in that way. I think my uncle was a smokescreen to a lot of what Hollywood was doing behind the scenes in that way. And what I've always said is, my uncle was an escape from that. He was an escape for me, who has been a victim of child abuse, by an uncle on my mom's side. He was an escape for Corey. In his book, he mentions that Michael, took him away from all of that. So I think that's very telling, because in Corey's documentary, he talks, there's an expert that talks about pretty much that being the opposite, that they kind of prey on people that have already been abused, or that they consider them like easy pickings. So that was interesting to me to see that. I don't even know where I'm supposed to be looking. Sorry. So sometimes I'm looking there, and sometimes I'm like looking on the screen. So excuse my amateurs. How's my family? We talk about it every once in a while, and I saw another question, so I'm going to combine these because I don't know where it was. The thing is that my family kind of nominated me to be the spokesperson once I started doing it, because they really appreciated what I was saying and how I conducted myself. I didn't see it. I still don't see it, but I am, as I've always said, I'm honored to be a Jackson. I'm honored. I feel so lucky to be Michael Jackson's nephew. So to me, it's a privilege. It's I wear it with a badge of honor. So I when they saw that, they were like, "You are, you can speak for us," in terms of like with this topic with leaving Neverland and stuff like that. I always watch what I say in terms of, because I don't like speaking for the family. There's so many of us, and we all have a different set of opinions just on life in general. So I'm very cautious of saying, certain things. But when it comes to my uncle, I know how all of us feel. Okay, let's see. It's affected the progress only because of the interviews, but in terms of the story and the writing of it and the shaping of it, no, not at all. And I think it's actually, I've gotten more work done in that way because I've been laser focused on it, because a lot of this is shaping the narrative, which is the truth, but you have to shape it in a way that's A, entertaining, but B, it's easy for people to understand, because people don't have big attention spans. And so that's the important thing, is to get the news out there, to get the truth out there, but to get it in a way that keeps people entertained and wanting to watch more and wanting to know more about Michael Jackson. Towards the end of the year, there's a lot. It's all timing, and that's the thing. I mean, everything, it's weird. Everything is getting pushed back to the end of the year. So I'm just a little worried about that. Like all the big Hollywood movies are kind of pushing to the end of the year. So I have to kind of see about that. Because the one thing I don't want to do is, not rush it, but to get it to the point where it's, I'm extremely happy with it and proud of it, but then it doesn't get any noise because there's all these big movies coming out and Hollywood's focused on that, and we're getting drowned out. And as it is, I don't expect Hollywood to promote it anyway. I've burned a lot of bridges just defending my uncle, but at the same time, I do feel like the tide is turning, and maybe it's just blind faith, but I do think that the tide is turning. Has someone ever told you that you look exactly like Knuckles from? Really? Huh. I like Knuckles, so thank you for the compliment. Will I ever do video games live stream soon? It's interesting. I've played video games my whole life. It balances the chaoticness of just my life in general. I'm watching a lot of disturbing movies and documentaries right now about pedophilia, and it's not easy. Because obviously I've experienced it, so it's one of those things that you want to wash away. You kind of want it to like clean your palate and be gone with it. But I'm watching it first for educational reasons, because I have to watch it. I have to learn, what separates a pedophile from my uncle, and there's a lot that does. But I have to know that. I have to know, and get experts to in my project to solidify that and let people know, because what they want to do is lump Michael Jackson in with all these other people, and he's furthest from that. So video games has always helped me kind of distract myself in a way, but I think if I play too many video games, or if you guys see me playing too many video games, you're gonna think I'm not working. And so it is that fine balance. But I would think that I'd be like, this dude's playing video games all day. What's he doing? He's not working. But it's that balance. But I did get the new call. Well, I've had the Call of Duty Warzone, and I did come in first place, which is a big accomplishment. So it's bragging rights, I guess. Okay. Left from Scotland. Thank you. Did you ever sort the issue with the state overuse? They said they would help me, so I didn't think there was an issue, and I hope there isn't an issue of it, because they've said that they're behind me and they would help me. So I'm not anticipating an issue at all. Okay. I hope I'm answering your guys' questions that you want me to answer. I'm not really skipping over any questions. I'm just trying to find the ones that I've seen more often so that it answers the latest thing. I can't tell you the latest thing I did. Oh, I can't tell you the latest thing I did for the documentary. It's a kind of a secret, but um, I've gosh, what can I say? Um, there's a couple things that you'll see probably not the start of next month, hopefully. In that way, you'll start seeing things on it. I want to start doing more of these as well to kind of keep you guys informed on the documentary. And I'm not being secretive because of just wanting to be secretive. I'm also being secretive because, as we saw with Corey's thing as well, that's like there's certain people that don't want the truth to be out there, and it is real in that way. And so I don't like. I've told plenty of people one-on-one or over the phone or through email and stuff like that. I just don't like saying it broadly out in the open like that, just because I do believe there are people that don't want this documentary or project to happen at all. They don't want anything positive, Michael, to happen at all. I'm going to take a sip of this is not a advertisement. I get nothing for this. Maybe I'll cover it for that reason, because no, you can't educate the ignorant. And that's what one of the things I would want to say to you guys is don't waste your time on people that are trolls. If they really are ignorant and they just don't want to know the truth, then you're wasting your time. I always focus on the people that want to learn the truth or are open to learn more. And we find those people every once in a while. There's a diamond in the rough that's like, oh, I didn't know that, and then that's an introduction to say, hey, well, why don't you watch this, or why don't you watch that? And then they come back and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Very similar to the Johnny Depp thing with me. I always felt that Johnny Depp was innocent, and I asked someone that knew more about it to educate me, and they sent me some links and stuff like that and who to follow, and I did. And now I know a lot more, and this was before the tapes came out, that. So I think that's always because I wanted to know more. I always liked Johnny Depp in general in terms of his acting, but also as a person, and also knew that he respected my uncle a lot in that way. And so I felt it was my duty to kind of learn more about him, and not because we have to be very careful of judging other people, because that's exactly what people are doing to my uncle right now. So I don't want to be a hypocrite and spread something around or do something that has been done to me as well, because I know how that feels. No, we haven't filmed any more Film Family stuff recently, just because the movie theaters have been kind of shut down. And so we're discussing, I think they're starting to show movies where you can buy them at home or whatever. We're going to maybe do that. And I got to see how we can figure this out, because we're still very interested in doing it. And Film Family Review, it's basically, Film Family, it's something I do on YouTube with Prince and BG. We review movies and talk about them. And what I love about it is it makes me definitely feel closer to my uncle, because, I'm there with his kids, and we also are talking about movies, which is something I did with my uncle all the time. So, and they're so passionate about it and interested in it. So it's like, I really feel connected to them, and I feel connected to my uncle at the same time. So it's something therapeutic to me, and I love it for that reason. It keeps me going. Okay. I'm actually, would you consider releasing the documentary in a series? I actually think it's going to be a series, because it's too much to address in one long movie. It has to be, there's certain things that I want to pinpoint on, and I just watching Netflix stuff and everything like that, I prefer that series format too. Michael Jackson deserves a series of truth, in that way. So yes, 100%. I was leaning that way. The only reason I was leaning towards a movie at one point format was just because of showing it in theaters in that way and getting it to as many people as possible. But I think a series would do better in terms of educating more people, and as people learn more, watch more, they'll get educated. I just saw the Who Killed Malcolm X one. It was really well done. And so been watching a lot of documentaries, a lot of series, to just kind of get what works, what doesn't work, what is interesting, what went completely over my head, because we have to remember, a lot of us know so many facts and know the truth, but we got to think of it as some people are coming from not knowing anything, just liking his music back in the day. And so we kind of have to bring them up to speed as well through this. Let's see. Yeah. There was a tabloid lie about BG buying a house, which BG did not buy a house, just so that you guys know. BG is at the same place he's always been, and I can't say more about it in terms of, because I don't like speaking about BG too much. I don't mind talking about him, about film and stuff like that, but BG didn't even know about the rumor or the lie in general. Like, there's so many times where we'll approach them, whether it's me or TJ or Terrell, and we'll be like, is this true, or this is what they're saying? So a lot of times we know it's not true because we're there with them or we're part of it. And so with this, we knew right away that it was a lie. But BG had no idea what they were even saying, which is very similar to the Johnny Depp puppet thing that they tried with my uncle. Johnny Depp had no idea about that production, that puppet, whatever, The Hand or whatever it was called. Yeah, he had no idea about it, which is what the media does. They just blatantly, they make up something to just sell. Sorry, let me see. Too. Okay, the good thing is because I'm also looking on the Twitter thing. Okay, this is a Twitter question because I have to do a couple of these. Words Without Meaning is one. Thank you. They said Words Without Meaning is one of the best sung songs ever. Thank you. Words Without Meaning's on the Brotherhood album. It was a song that Terrell wrote way back in the day, and I sung on it, and I sung a demo first for my uncle to hear and all that stuff, and he fell in love with it, and it was a demo, and so I had convinced everyone that I could beat the demo. So I'm like, just give me one studio day where I could beat the demo, and I didn't beat the demo, so everyone liked the demo better than the version that I came up with. And so the demo is what's on the album in that way. But it was in that last line where where I kind of cracked, like I'm crying, almost like the She's Out of My Life thing. That was my uncle's kind of idea to do something like that. But he absolutely loved that song. And he I'm laughing because it's a great memory, whether it was Neverland and, or wherever we were at, like sometimes he would just sing parts of that song to me. He just really loved it. And so it's a good memory. And then the other my question is, if you had one more day with Michael, what you'd love to do or go with him? Like, what would I love to do or go? Oh, gosh. It wouldn't matter where I went or do. I would just tell him that I loved him and that thank him, personally just thank him and hold him and thank him for everything he's done. I wouldn't need to do anything. Like, he'd probably want to watch Stooges and laugh and whatever, but I don't know, if I had just a minute with him, that's what I would want to do. Let's see. One of the things you can do to help just keep spreading the truth. Like, I think it's working. Well, I know it's working, but I think it's being very effective. And let's not forget, there's a lot of people now that have been working, that are at home, that are catching up on things. And so we can't just assume that everyone knows, oh yeah, this has been debunked. There are people that are kind of slow to the news and slow to the information. And yeah, I catch myself sometimes too, being like, you're a year late, wake up, or get with it. But I'm talking about now that people are quarantined and are self-quarantining themselves. There are a lot of people that have extra time on their hands to watch, Liza Leaving Neverland or Square One, or all the various, whether it's Razor Fist or all the various, um, YouTube videos that have been put together, or movies that have been put together to educate them. Yeah, and I think I answered this. It's going to be a larger series, not 2 hours. 2 hours is not enough to cover what is needed to cover at all. I mean, I am taking everything that you guys have said in terms of, like, I do want to focus as well on the humanitarianism. It is what Michael Jackson is to the world. His charity. Yes, the music is incredible and the music is everlasting, but we can't forget what this man has done in terms of helping people and helping the world. It's what's needed now more than ever, and that's what's missing. Okay, yeah, I did that one already, so hold on. I'm catching up, so let's see. Yeah, sorry, bear with me. I'm gonna go a little faster in terms of. What are some of the inspirations of 3T? I'm trying to do like a Michael question and a 3T question, or a personal question, just so that, because I know everyone's here for different reasons. Inspirations of 3T. It's interesting. When we first started 3T, we wanted to be like our uncles and my dad, perform on stage and concerts. That's what 3T was. We were mimicking the Jacksons. And so that's always been a goal of ours. But then, one of the things that I always regret is that we always compared ourselves to Michael Jackson in terms of his height and stardom. And so when we were selling out arenas, we never even thought that we were successful, because, well, at least I didn't, because my uncle's selling out stadiums. And so we always thought, well, we haven't made it until you've sold out the stadium. And so that was something that was very hard to accept, that we never got to that point. But at the same time, our inspirations now is just providing light to the world, and doing something positive, because I think that's kind of what you should do with your platform. If you have a platform, whether it's as a celebrity, as a teacher, as anything, where you're talking to a certain people, and you can, I don't like to use the word influence, help them. I think you should use it for positivity and good. And that's what I've tried to do my whole life in that way. I think that comes straight from teachings from my mom, teaching from my grandma, teaching from my dad, teaching from my uncle, teaching from my family, basically. But yeah, it's aspirations. Do want to tour again, and do want to release another album for 3T as well. 3T will always be 3T. We're brothers. My mom, in the back of my head, I hear my mom telling us to still practice and stuff like that. So there's always going to be 3T. And we love, we're brothers, and we love still doing music together, even though they're doing their solo stuff right now and I'm doing the project. There's always 3T. I think what would have hurt my uncle the most is probably the same thing that hurt him in 2005, is his friends not coming to his rescue. And I shouldn't even use the word, to his defense. His friends hiding is the people you count on are the people you think will be there for you, which is why he would always, say that he loved the song "Will You Be There," because it's like he felt that that's the time to show, hey, I am here for you. is when times get hard, not when times are easy. It's easy for people to be around when everything is going great. But when things aren't going great or when it's been twisted, who is going to be there for you? And that I think that's what would hurt my uncle the most. Plus, this world is just so dark now. It's everyone's so selfish. Um, I don't, and I've said this before. I don't know how Michael Jackson would have existed in this world. It's a very selfish world. It's a very me first world, and it's social media is it's a blessing because I get to talk to you guys and stuff like that. But it's also something that takes the mystery out of everything, and he was all about mystery and wonderment and pt Barnum, like just kind of like presenting something exciting and magical, and it's gone. That is gone now. Everyone just the only thing that you could do to surprise people is just releasing an album that no one knew that was you were making. That's it. Like that's the way people get excited now. Dropping an album unannounced. Let's see. It's a board at the house thing. No, I know. That's why I wanted to kind of do this because of this reason. And I know people are at home and stuff like that. I'm at home too, but I've been watching a lot of documentaries, a lot of projects, and a lot of movies and stuff that kind of go over these topics and stuff. There's one that it's really disturbing. I think it's called iPedo or whatever. It's an English production, and I'm dreading watching that. I've started watching it, but it's about like it's from the pedophile's point of view in terms of like it's interviewing a bunch of pedophiles and stuff like that. And I'm watching that one soon. I've been dreading to watch it because it's I don't know. You guys obviously know why I would. I feel great. Michael DeBarge made a new Leaving Neverland comment on the red carpet. And Michael's been great. We've been in contact for probably over a year. He's kept me posted on Corey's progress because that is one thing that I've always, I want Corey to succeed because he's being brave out there doing it. And I do think there are people that want him to fail in that way. And so I've been in contact with Michael for probably about a year, and he's been super supportive of Michael Jackson, obviously. He's never swayed in that way, and he's always kept me posted on everything. So I appreciate him a lot. And I appreciate anyone that's made comments on the red carpet because we live in such a toxic world where you can't even question people at all, and there are people that lie. There's people that lie, during divorces just to get custody of the kids. So, I don't think it's smart to just blindly believe anyone. I think you have to at least listen, but you have to also do some research. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I didn't like my voice on Words Without Meaning until my uncle told me that he loved that song and he loved how I sung it. And he would ask me questions about it, like how do I do my vibrato? And I was like, I felt so honored. Like I was like, why are you asking me that? I'm like, it's natural. I don't know what I'm doing in that way, but I felt so tickled by it, like that he was saying that to me. Like this man is, incredible. Okay, let's see. Okay. Answer some of these questions. I'm gonna kind of. Okay. Yeah. Now we're gonna. What's interesting about Wade, and I'm just kind of scrolling these questions. I don't think Wade's friends believe him. I think Wade's friends are there to support him. I don't think they believe him because, I think people people, and if you're friends with someone, you know what they're capable of and what they're not capable of, and you know if they're selfish or not been selfish. And I think that's the case with Wade, is that Wade's, been in a situation where he's lied a lot, and people have probably experienced that, and now they don't know to trust him or not, which is what they should. I would love my project to be shown on Netflix. Netflix is, Netflix, it's like any place. I mean, I know Corey tried to get his thing on Netflix, and other people have tried to get things on Netflix that were pro Michael as well. I know. And I would love to. I will definitely present it to them, because I think that is something. I think when they see how it's done, and they will come on board. They're the pie in the sky, the goal, but I'm just trying to get it to as many people as possible out there. And so Netflix would be great, but there's others too that are coming, up as well, in terms of that are very good in that way. So I'm hearing my daughter cry in the distance. That's why I'm distracted. I'm still a parent here. So, I watched, I've said I've watched Leaving Neverland, or Finding Neverland. That was the one. Finding Neverland was the one about Peter Pan, right? In terms of the creation of it. I think I want to say I saw that Neverland. I'm not sure if I did or not. I love that movie though. That was a great movie. I think I saw that at Neverland, and yeah, there's some similarities to my uncle in that as well, in terms of just the youthfulness that I have to watch that movie again. I don't feel comfortable talking about it right now, only because I don't remember it. BG is the one that remembers every line of a movie or whatever. I envy him for that, because my memory is not very good when it comes to movies. I have to see it a couple times to kind of get the grasp of it. But I remember the feeling of when I watched Finding Neverland, and I loved it. Yeah, that's what I am thinking. I'm thinking about audience volume. That's the whole point of all this, is because if I'm going to do this, is why I didn't go to like a cable company or whatever, because they control where it goes out afterwards. And I want to get this to as many people as possible. It needs to get to as many people as possible. Let's see. There's some trolls in here, but I expected that. Let's see. What? I think I started realizing my uncle's. It was when we were younger, and we just saw on stage. We saw my uncle and my dad perform, and we were like, okay, that's what we want to do. So we just saw all these people screaming. Particularly, I remember performing at when they were performing at the Forum, LA Forum, and I just saw these. It's like a flashes of but my memory. I just remember how big it was, and all these people screaming. I think they broke a record at the Forum for performances, but that was interesting. But then my uncle, when he got his star in the Walk of Fame, and there's a picture of us there in our Buckley uniforms, which is our school uniforms, because we got taken out of school to go see it. And I'll never forget that. That was amazing for me, just seeing all the sea of people excited that Michael Jackson got the star. And my dad took us to see that, and I was so happy, and I know my dad was so proud as well. And that's one of the things that I love about my dad, is my dad, he was very proud of his brother. And I respect him for that in that way, because he knew that we were close to my uncle, but he wasn't intimidated by that at all. And I always appreciate my dad for that reason. But yeah, that and when concerts would come around and teachers would ask for tickets, that's also a big sign that, you know, your uncle's famous, to the point, because I know how hard that would have been for teachers to ask. You know, there's like that line, but it's like, oh, I have to ask because I want to go to this. And so um, yes, that is on my watch list. The Trials of Gabriel Fernandez. I've heard so much about it, and you guys have, I think, tweeted me or emailed me to watch it as well. So that is one of the. I know that is exactly why I don't. I'm kind of putting it off, is because I know I've seen the comments on it, and it's very heavy, and it's very, you know, I've disturbing in a certain way. So as you see, I kind of push those aside. I can only do one of those a week, like where I'm just like, and then I have to kind of like cleanse my palate. Do I know if Mike ever wrote a song about the fouls? I mean, tabloid junkie and all that stuff. I'm talking about unreleased stuff. I'll have to see. No, I don't know off the top of my head. If they, I mean, I'm sure you guys, some of you guys might know in that way. We talk about it all the time, but I don't know, um, you know, in terms of unreleased. Obviously, leave me alone and all that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. No, that's thank you. That's all I do is stay positive. That's the whole thing. It's I've been the one thing I have been. I think that's one of the reasons my family wanted me to be the. I'm pretty much very always positive. I always think of the glass half full as opposed to half empty. Um, I truly believed, even when Leaving Neverland came out, as long as you guys were here, the fans were there, I knew that we'd beat this and that the truth would finally come out and they would understand, the world would change and understand, and lies would start being exposed on their end. But that was, I knew, as long as we stayed and fought as opposed to run. And that's what they were counting on. They were counting on everyone to run and be like, just denounce Michael. But you guys stayed and fought, and they weren't planning on that. And it actually made them have to challenge us. And you guys have been amazing in that way. And so that's how I stay positive, is just knowing the army that is behind not only me, but behind my uncle's name. And so I appreciate it. Let's see. How are you going to deal with all that? No hugging. I'm a hugger. That's the hard thing. I'm a hugger. Yeah, I don't know. It's gotten used to elbow hits and stuff like that, which I've done that too. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know how the world's going to deal with it though, because if we're going to have to be distant, you know, we're going to have to be more distant than we already are. That's not good either. But we have to take precautions. I would love to interview David. His artwork, in terms of, it's such a memory to me in terms of just being around Neverland. And so, yeah, that would be an honor. And it's something that he's on my list of people to go after an interview. So yes, that would be incredible. It is great healing for me. You know, it's great healing. It's great pride. It and it makes me proud, because it is something I can do for my uncle in a way that he had everything, you know, besides friendship, which me and my brothers always gave him unconditionally. It was it's times like this that I can show, you know, my appreciation in a way. So I'm very excited about that in a way of doing. Sorry, I just cut mid sentence. I do that a lot. So just um, what was the first funniest moment you share? There's not really a funniest moment. I think there's so many moments that we shared. I could tell you that when we were in Japan, when we traveled with him to Japan, or we traveled, yeah, we traveled with him to Japan because we were already in Asia. Um, it was that whole time period was one of the best time periods of my life, just because it countered everything that was going on in his life, and we were laughing a lot, and he just, you could tell it was lifting up his spirits, and he was enjoying our presence. And when you feel that, when you know, when he's asking you, can you stay longer and stuff like that, that's when you know that you're helping him in that way. And we tried to stay as long as we could, but we had school, we had to get back to school, I think it was. um, let's see. uh, let's see. Again, I apologize. I'm wearing your shirt and Danny. Well, I think that, yeah, I don't know what I can say about that. I do know my uncle definitely thought that the British press, were extremely unfair to him. Let's see. I've answered some of these questions. Is BG going to go to film school? I think BG applied. I don't think he's mentioned where he's going yet, so I can't say that. I can't. I don't want to be the one that says it and then it gets in the news and then it's like Taj, BG. But I know he applied to colleges specifically for film. So there you go. And I'm very proud of him. Is, is it echoing for me? I don't know. Was it echoing? Okay, hold on. You guys can still. Yeah, court document, everything, anything that is documents, experts. I think that's the thing that is going to make the project that we're doing even stronger, is because it's the opposite of what Leaving Neverland has in terms. They don't have any documents. They don't have anything. They don't have any evidence at all. They just have, two people and their families claiming something, with no background behind it, in terms of no stance behind it, as we've seen as it's crumpled. Let's see. Um, I I've talked to someone. I haven't talked to my grandma, um, but I know she's doing okay because I asked someone that had just talked to her in that way. I didn't want to. I know everyone and their family is calling my grandma right now, so I always do the opposite. I just see if she's okay, like from a third party or whatever that I know has talked to her, and as long as I know that, the worst thing I could do right now is visit her, obviously, because she's up in age, and I don't want to, even I don't want anyone to visit her, you know, for that reason. Yeah, I heard about the. I haven't heard. I haven't listened to the interview that he did with the MJ cast, but Kevin. I know Kevin, and Kevin's a great person, and Kevin got to know Kevin when we did the tribute show. I think it was 2010. Yeah, he would be a great person. Anyone that has experienced, actually knows Michael Jackson, has been around Michael Jackson, knows his innocence. It's these other people. It's usually strangers or people that wanted to be in his position, that are now trying to kick him while he's down. But if you notice, the people that truly knew him are defending him, which is the opposite, I could say, of Wade. So I'm just looking at. Uh, I'm looking at the Twitter ones to try and. Oh, can't find any right now. Would I consider making a biopic of my own life? I think. Thank you if you think it would be. I think it would be super boring, but I haven't done enough yet. I think maybe in 10, 15 years, I feel like I'm still starting. I honestly feel like I'm 20 years old. Like not only mentally, but spiritually. So I have to catch myself when I realize how old I am, because I don't feel that way. And so that's why I kind of really identify with my uncle, because I don't feel as old as I am. I mean, Mother Nature reminds me, because I get gray hairs certain places. That's why I shave a lot. But besides that, I don't feel it at all. Did I always want to be a musician? Um, no. I always wanted to sing and be on stage like my uncles were. Um, but it's funny, music be the performing part. Well, I guess that is musician. I guess musician is singing. I thought you meant like playing instruments. Uh, we started with that first. Me and my brother started playing instruments first, and then my dad was the one that said, "You guys got to sing too. You can't just be playing people's covers." You know, and so we went through vocals and all that stuff and started harmonizing and everything like that. Um, but I had an equal love for film and TV. I was the one that always loved directing, and would my dad would do home movies with us, and we did Popeye, we did Batman, we did Spider-Man, and no, not Spider-Man, what, Batman. I don't know. You guys probably don't, but the you could hear me in the background for Popeye, because I'm starring in it, and I'm this little, probably 7 or 8 year old kid, and I'm giving my dad instructions on where to put the camera and everything like that. Just super bratty. So hold on, let's see where I'm at. My mental health. I'm hoping it's good. I've always tried to be positive. So I've always tried to be positive, and so I always look at the bright side of things, even as horrible as it could be at the time period. So I've always, the only thing that is lack of sleep. That's when my barrier goes down, when I don't have sleep, or which is kind of hard because I haven't had as much sleep as I need. But I try and balance stuff. That's me. Like I'm always balancing. So if things get too heavy, I'll do something light, like watch a comedy or something. Um, no, I don't have any tattoos. I did get. I know what that feels like, though, because I have under this arm. I have. Wait, I don't want to show it. It's one of these arms. I have a light patch, like it's probably about this big, like a circle. That my pigmentation is about 3 shades lighter, and so I tried to well, I didn't try. I tattooed that to see if to make it darker, and it hurt like heck. And so I know that bubble, like it bubbles up and stuff like that. I know everything about it and whatever. But I did that because as a kid, I was embarrassed to take off my shirt and go to swim parties and all that stuff. I was scared to do that because I had this pigmentation under my arm and stuff like that. Um, what was your favorite concert of Michael? Different concerts meant different things, you know. And it was different age that I when I traveled with him for different concerts. So they all there's no favorite one because there's good memories in every single one. You know, we were younger um, in certain concerts. Victory Tour, we were complete, you know, a lot younger. That's a very big one for me. But then the History Tour is also very important because I was older, so I appreciated certain things more. Yeah. Did I ever? Yes, which is one of the reasons why I'm so adamant about Wade is because I witnessed many times Wade and my uncle together. I was there in 2005 when Wade testified. I wasn't there at the court. I was there at Neverland for the dinner and stuff like that afterwards. And so that's what bothers me more than anything is someone, you know, watching him and through the lens of being someone that has been sexually abused. I watched Wade, and I wasn't watching him to see like how he acted with my uncle. I was just now in hindsight, it bothers me so much because it's like this guy is claiming that Michael abused him, and all my memories of him and how he was around my uncle was, you know, it was like someone complete opposite of what you would think it would be like in that way. I mean, you're talking about someone that wanted to get married at Neverland, you know, um, but they don't report the news doesn't report on any of that. My uncle's eating habits. It depends on the decade and the year. There are times when he chow down on chicken, you know, Kentucky Fried Chicken or Popeyes or the biscuits he loved. And then there's times when he didn't eat at all. Like they had to force him to eat, you know. So it all depends. When we were at Neverland, you know, they would make healthy pancakes and stuff like that, or, you know, whole grain pancakes or cookies and stuff. And he would eat certain things of that. And he was a healthy eater, but then he could also chow down on, you know, Popeyes or Kentucky Fried Chicken. I'm laughing because the memories of him eating chicken. How's everyone doing on time? Will we ever release a Brotherhood concert on DVD? That's a good question. We have the footage to do it. It's just the time. But yeah, that would be kind of cool to do. Maybe talk about it too, like a little document. But I got to do this first. But then, yeah, that'd be awesome to do. Maybe the 30th anniversary. Um, how was the experience recording "We Are the World" 25? It was incredible. Because I felt like I was doing something that my dad had done previously. Because my dad was in the choir singing, and it's crazy because right next to me, literally right next to me, is Jeff Bridges, and singing right next to me, and he was super nice. But then he won the Academy Award that year, which is crazy. Um, Literally standing right next to me. Um, let's see. Uh, did 3T have a lot? No, we didn't. I mean, the thing with 3T was that we were boring. We'd stay in the hotel and play video games and stuff like that. So I think in some way a lot of the fans stopped coming to the hotel because we didn't entertain that at all. And so they stopped coming because of that reason. Because it's like it word got out that we don't do that, and so uh, yeah, that's yeah. But yeah. Oh, thank you. I try. Let's see. Oh, yes, I did vote. I'm not gonna tell you who I voted for. I might tell you later, but because I don't want to influence anything. But I did vote, and I I know plenty of people that didn't vote that's around me, but I voted. I stayed in line for 2 hours to vote. What do you? Let me ask you guys a question. What are you guys doing for your time right now? Like, how are you kind of making time pass? Before watching you. Um, Someone asked about my uncle's favorite president. Um, I think he wasn't very political. My uncle wasn't very political. He wanted to work with people that wanted to help the world, and so he would work with whoever it was, as you guys have noticed, as long as they wanted to help the world or to, you know, had a common need involved. So that's how I not grew up, but that's what I watched about him was that he had a purpose in life, and that was his goal. I'm sorry, I'm looking at these questions. I don't have a favorite Michael Jackson album, unfortunately. I've seen the Twitter fights of you guys. Mm, maybe it's definitely a greatest hits album. I lean on history only because it has all the songs, like most of the songs I love, plus the new songs. Yeah, my uncle did like the movie Titanic. He was friends with James Cameron. He actually went on the set of Titanic. Um, I was a little jealous to hear that, but yes. No, we never. There was never an opportunity to do Why Live with my uncle. I know with I Need You, at one point we were trying to get him on green screen to do his part, but that didn't happen. We couldn't get it to work in the time period that we needed it to. KFC should sponsor the documentary. Yeah. Ooh, favorite Auntie Janet song. There's so many. I love watching Rhythm Nation be performed live. There's something about that on stage. Come Back to Me is one of my all-time favorite songs, just in terms of just the chorus of that song. Oh my gosh, put me on this. If I love performing, it's the live performance of that. Um, yeah, there's so many great songs, so it's hard to say. Oh, Together Again. Oh my gosh, one of my favorite songs of my aunt. Just that I know I keep saying that. And favorite MJ song, huh? Same. I think it's there's so many of them. Man in the Mirror, Human Nature, Earth Song, Black or White is Thriller for obvious reasons, just because it's like an anthem for Halloween. Um, Billie Jean for its significance in terms of the moonwalk, and just when I hear that song, I think of the Smooth Criminal for the video. I, I just and the performance live of Smooth Criminal is incredible. Smooth Criminal, Billie Jean, and Human Nature. Those three songs live, like watching him perform those, and Man in the Mirror were like my favorite songs to watch him perform. And Black or White, but on tour. Write a biography. The hardest thing about writing a biography is all the people claiming that you're writing a tell-all book, just to make money off your uncle's name. I wouldn't do it anyway, but I'm saying that's something my uncles have ran into the problem of, and it's like it's hard because they're not allowed to write about themselves or write about their memories of what they lived and grew up with, and I think it's very unfair. They were part of the dynasty and legacy as well, and so they should be able to write about their lives. But certain people attack them and say, oh, with fear that they're going to write about Michael and this and that, and they're allowed to write about their brother. I would hate if one of my brothers did a biography of me and couldn't talk about me at all in it. Why are there no other Blu-ray? Why are they not? I have no idea. That would be incredible. I think there's so much magic in his concerts. That would be great. Yes, I'm going to save this for everyone, so you guys can watch this if I know how to do it. I think I do. I don't have a favorite song for each of my brothers. My brothers how do I feel about I'm super supportive of them, as they know. I'm usually behind the scenes helping them in some way. My favorite songs from both my brothers are songs that haven't been released, so I can't talk about them. They're not from their solo albums, but just from 3T days that I tell them that they need to record. So I don't know my uncle's all-time favorite movie. Maybe you guys would know that. I know he loved E.T. I know he loved To Kill a Mockingbird. I know he loved West Side Story. I know he loved Network. I know, gosh. I'm just going off the movies that he made me watch. And I shouldn't say made me watch, but he wanted me to watch. Sound of Music. The ones that he was like, these are Captain Courageous, The Window, not The Rear Window, The Window. There's a couple of others that we watched multiple times in that way. He loved What's Eating Gilbert Grape when it came out, because we watched that. I'm trying to think what other movies that we watched that he really enjoyed. Yeah, if I think of more, I'll let you know. My all-time favorite movie is it's I don't really have one. Star Wars, Jurassic Park. Shawshank Redemption probably is. It fluctuates between those three, but Shawshank or Star Wars. Star Wars for making me want to be a director or making me want to do movies, and I would say Shawshank for making me appreciate movies in terms of just that story in general. That's a no-brainer for me. So maybe that would be it. Let's see. Okay, I'm just trying to catch up on these questions. If I could re-record any Jackson song, what would it be? It's interesting. I know my uncle Michael wanted us to record "Man of War" with him at one point together, him and us. That never happened, but he did want that. But he also burned this disco out. Uh, he wanted us to record that as well as 3T. Um, he said that's a great song to redo. Will Lisa be in the documentary? That's a good question. I that would be incredible for her to be in it. I haven't reached out to her yet, just because when I reach out to her, I want to basically film her within that time period of reaching out to her. But no, she will be hopefully in the documentary. I have nothing but fond memories of Lisa, and my memories of my uncle and her together have been nothing but fond. And so I don't know. I really love Lisa Marie in terms of just in general, like just I think she understood my uncle in a way because she had lived something similar to her life. And I do think that just when you put two big, mega powerful people together, it's hard in general, even though they have so much in common. It just, from the beginning, the media was after their marriage, calling it a scam and all that stuff. So they had a lot of pressure, and you know, there's a lot of growth in this as well. Sorry. What's the story behind "I Do," the wedding song? Um, the wedding song that's on our newest album, and the wedding song was a song that I I have the hardest time writing songs, and so I have this new program that like plays guitar over keyboards, and I came up with the chords for it for "I Do." And me and my brothers at that time, we would go to Vegas to write every, I forgot how often, but we would go and we'd take a bunch of songs that each one of us were working on. And I played that to them, and we wrote a melody, and and some words to it. And it sat there and sat there because my uncle passed that year. And so we stopped going to Vegas, and we stopped even, finishing the songs that we had worked on. And when it came down to me getting married, I remembered that song, and I kind of pulled it out, and I basically held that ransom. And I told my brothers, you don't have to do a best man speech, because both of them were my best men. But I want us to finish this song because I want this to be my first dance song, And so it took a lot of whipping them into shape kind of thing, only because we were all so busy. But to their credit, they, pulled it off. We pulled it off, I guess, finished the song. And it was my first dance song for my wedding. And it has a very symbolic meaning to me, obviously, in that way. And so I love that song very much. And that's what it is. Okay, let's see. I'm probably going to go for another 15, 20 minutes just because I don't want to keep you guys. Is there anything you would like to just thank you for your support? And, I know my family thanks you guys as well. It's not easy at times, especially when you know the truth and the media is not reporting it. It's not easy. Um, but at the same time, we feel all the love that you guys give us, and it gives us our strength to keep going. And you guys have been amazing. Like, honestly, you've been so amazing that it's weathered the storm of all the negatives that the media tries to throw at us in that way. This has been a mystery to a lot of people. My uncle knew how to. He would sing the parts to his songs to the musicians. He wasn't very good at playing the songs, playing the instruments. He could tap on the keyboards and get around, but not like, like just like anyone could, like playing, but he definitely did not know how to play piano or guitar. But he didn't need to, because it was all in his head, and he would sing it, and then they would get it right away, and they would create it. I don't know about Nine Inch Nails, but I can tell you that my uncle was definitely a studier of arts from all different types of genres, and so it wouldn't surprise me at all if someone said that, and because he studied all types of music, from classical to rock to heavy metal to country. He studied all different types, and he had, you know, an admiration for them. Let's see. Yeah. I don't know if my uncle got to hear Amy Winehouse or not. I never asked that question. So I unfortunately I can't answer that. Will Paris appear on film? We've talked about it. If I think it has to depend on the 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 movie. If there's another Harry Potter coming out, I know there's the Fantastic Beast. If there's another Harry Potter movie, she would have been on it already. Um, who is Michael's best friend? I don't think, I mean, he had his celebrity friends and whatever. I don't I don't think my uncle had a best friend. He had people that he relied on, and some people, betrayed him. Some people let him down. But I don't know. I think that was one of the reasons he was always searching for more companions and friends, was because he always felt, I don't want to say lonely, but I don't think people understood him, and it took certain people to understand him. That's one of the reasons we were always around him, was because we understood him. We understood his nature. We understood the not wanting to grow up. We were big kids, even when I was 21 and just out of starting college or whatever with 3T. I think my uncle's biggest fear is that we were going to try and grow old on him, and say, oh, we don't want to do this. This is stupid or silly now. But we never were like that. We always wanted to, when we were with him, we always acted like kids in that way. I think Elizabeth Taylor and Chris Tucker were, best friends in terms of in the entertainment industry. Brando as well, Marlon Brando, in terms of people that were high profile people, Macaulay as well. But there's things that they didn't even know, and I'm saying negative. I'm just saying they didn't even know about Michael Jackson, that I'm sure other people did, like myself and my brothers, because we were family. I would say Michael's best friend was his mom, if anything. Catherine. I know he confided in her about everything, and that was also his mentor and his inspiration. So I would say that over anyone. And David Guest was definitely close to my uncle. David Guest would make my uncle laugh a lot. I think my uncle liked that about David. David was crazy in a good way. I don't know the best prank that my uncle played. We played a lot of pranks with him. They were all epic, but we weren't around him 24/7. So there might have been a better prank that he played with someone else. Pancakes or waffles? Depends. Someone asked. Waffles usually though, but I love pancakes. Yeah, it depends. Yes, we had food fights with my uncle a lot. We had pie fights, pie pie fights, whipped cream fights. Like with where you get like paper plates and whipped cream. They were a lot of fun. We just acted really silly, which is something I think he needed. Yeah, he was too good for this world. I've said that plenty of times. I truly believe that. I think I've always said that the world got darker when he passed. And he, I think certain people feared him because he was too good for this world, and he had an innocence that people can't identify with. Books or film? It depends. I used to be all into books in terms of learning. I studied and read and read, but now I just love watching films. So there's a bit different. Did Michael have social media? I think that was way ahead. He tried to study it and start learning about it, but he did not have. I don't think he had social media. My uncle wasn't very computer literate or inclined. Like people that know him know that about him. He didn't know how to work things very well. Like I was surprised when he got his phone and he was texting, and that was like very close to like later on in life, like probably 2008, 2009 era. So it took him some time. Xbox, PlayStation, or Nintendo? I have all three from different years. I was one of the idiots that stood in line for the Nintendo Switch. I shouldn't say idiots because I got it. I online I play with the Xbox. PlayStation is great for single player games. It's one of my favorite systems for that. Nintendo is great. Nintendo Switch is great for on the road or on the run and whatever. And they have classic games like Zelda and Mario. But Xbox, I play Call of Duty is one of my favorite games, and Overwatch. Those two. So multiplayer wise, I love Xbox, and the joystick I love better. Does your family still keep in contact with Ryan White's family? No, but that's one of the people on the list is Ryan White's mom that I do want to interview because she has an incredible story, and I want to tell that story as well, with her permission. Let's see. Can you drop names of snake? The betrayal's an interesting thing. There's business betrayal, and then there's kind of like friendship betrayal, which is basically at times of need, were they there for him or were they not there for him? And you can probably do your homework and see the ones that were very pro Michael, pre 2005, and then, were silent when the trial happened, and kind of make your own assumptions. But yeah, I think that was the hardest thing for him was, you don't have to backstab someone to betray them. Just by not being there for them when they need you is also a betrayal, especially for someone like my uncle who was always there for everyone else. I think that's the hard thing. I do miss that Elizabeth Taylor is not alive. She was so adamant and she loved my uncle so much, and she got my uncle so well, and she fought. And I don't think Leaving Neverland could have gotten legs with Elizabeth Taylor alive. She would have shut that down. And I don't mean shut it down in terms of not letting it happen. I think she would have been on press tours, basically shutting all those lies down. Was I close to in 2008? Yes, I was. I would go to until he moved to LA, back to LA. When he was in Vegas, I saw him a lot. Pretty often, I would fly to Vegas to see him, and every time I would see him, he'd always want me to stay longer and stuff like that. But I had to get back to what I was doing. 2009, not so much, only because once he announced his "This Is It" tour, me and my brothers always had like a deal with ourselves that we wouldn't bother him, because every day we were around him, it was a day that we would just have fun and play. Like, so it was a day that he wasn't working. And so we learned that we have to kind of separate ourselves and let him get his work done, because he couldn't focus. He'd want to play. And so I regret this, but I wasn't as in 2009. I kind of left him alone and let him do what he needed to do for the tour. And I regret this to this day, that I didn't check in more often. It was just, I thought he was working hard on his tour. Yes, we do need MJ hat. I love this hat. I would love to see more of it. Sing a song from Brotherhood. Maybe next live stream. This is too embarrassing as it is. I don't know if I would do it yet. Do you ever watch videos on YouTube? I don't know. I'd never personally watched him watch videos on YouTube, so I don't know the answer. Okay, let's see. I'll stop at 2 my time, so it's a 2-hour. It's plenty of time. Let's see, brother. BG's plans for college is basically film. That I do know. We talk about it a lot, and he is perfect for it. He remembers everything about a movie. He's passionate. He reminds me a lot of his dad in terms of he can dissect something and know like the shot and study the shot, but just he knows how to phrase it in a way. It's amazing, because it's what I didn't have at his age, and I wish I did have. So I had to study books and stuff to learn it, but he's got it already. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to what he comes up with. Did Michael ever? I think it's hard, because he knew what he was. He knew what he was put on Earth to do, and I think that's the thing. I think he knew that came with a lot of people wanting to bring him down. It's almost like he knew he had a target on his back. He knew he was going to carry the weight for a lot of people, but he also knew that he was given this gift of not only music, but music was just an instrument to talk to the world, and he knew about it. And I don't know. I mean, it's hard, because I think with every regret, I felt takes you to a certain place, but yeah, I don't know. I did ask him about uh, Gavin, and why he would risk helping him, and he basically said because he couldn't let him die. So I don't think that's a regret. He saved Gavin's life. I don't think that's a regret at all. The title of the docuseries or the project is The Truth Runs Marathons. So, which is something that I had to, and the production company is called Applehead Club Productions. Yeah. the title was hard. It's still something that I'm still. I love that quote though. I think the quote sums it up because it's what we're all going through. Lies run sprints, but the truth runs marathons. And I think that's what his life and legacy will be. It is a marathon, but people will learn the truth if they haven't already. And it's just waking people up to the truth. Michael's favorite book. Hold on one second. I'm going to go get the book. 1 second. I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to get it for you guys anyway. Okay, so this book was given to me in 1993 by my uncle, and this is one of the books that my uncle loved, The Law of Success. It's not a surprise to a lot of people. He inscribed it, if you can read this. And I even wrote on it, Singapore, 1993. So that is probably one of my uncle's favorite books. It's one of the books that he always had. He had gazillions of copies of it. There's another. Sorry if I'm out of breath. I'm kind of out of shape too. So then the Jonathan Livingston Seagull was another book that he read to us many, many times. And I would say, in terms of a message and moral, that was probably the book that he presented to us more often than not. But the Law of Success book was something that he studied for his mindset. Let's see. What are did I say burn this disco out or burn this? I hope I said burn this disco out and not burn this disco down. I think I said out because that would sound very ignorant if I did. Where did the word apple? Applehead comes from Three Stooges. The word applehead. Moe and Larry would call each other that, or Moe would call Larry that at times, and vice versa. I don't think Curly was ever called Applehead. You Applehead, but let's see. What's my? It's weird, you know. He appreciated movies and stuff. I really believe that Hollywood dangled a carrot always in front of my uncle, to get his ideas, to get what he was kind of almost to kind of pick his brain, but then never let him to, into production of something. But I also don't think my uncle fit in Hollywood in a way. I think Hollywood's a different beast and a different, it's all about publicists and agents and, a lot of his Hollywood friends and people that he knew, when 2005 arrived, they were told by their agent or their publicist not to talk to Michael or not to defend Michael, kind of what's happening now. And so I think that is one of the things. That's why you hear more about musicians and people like that, and hip hop artists defending Michael, because I think music industry is different. They're not concerned as much with their publicist or their agent telling them what to do, or, oh, this will look bad or this will look good on you, do this. They think with their own minds. And I'm not saying all of Hollywood does that, but they do rely on their agents a lot, or their publicists. Let's see. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just trying. Yeah, that's the book. And I'm gonna go find my copy and read that again. Anyone get in fights yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I know a lot of my cousins growing up did. They got in fights defending my uncle, and that's one of the reasons why selfishly, when I had my daughter, I was like, this stops here, because I don't want her growing up in a world that's naive and ignorant to the fact that Michael not only was innocent, that he helped this world so much, and he left a gift to this world. And so I was like, I have to be out there fighting, because I don't want her to have to deal with what my cousins and had to go throughout all their lives. Let's see. Yeah, that pause. I'm sure other people were panicking, like, where did he go? Yeah, I was completely out of breath, because any kind of movement for me, like, is that book is. I'm trying to think of another book that he read a lot. He studied a lot. He read a lot. And now, we never had a doo-doo club. We just called him Uncle Doo-doo. There was never a doo-doo club. That sounds weird, even though Uncle Doo-doo sounds weird too. But Doo-doo was just more of a nickname. I think it was more to not take himself so serious. It's almost to keep him young. As if kids have nicknames for people. It's like, just call me this, because not to be so. I think the world took him so seriously, and he never, he was always a kid at heart. Ooh, someone's in the. Sorry, dog, and I think I got a package of something. One sec, people. Let me just want to make sure. Sorry about this. Oh yeah, it's just a package. Okay, sorry. Favorite meal. I think I went over, but definitely he didn't. Michael only ate out of necessity, to be honest. Like, because he was always on the go, trying to. He was either having fun or he was working, and when he was in work mode, you had to remind him to eat, because he was so focused. Let's see. Is there a reason why the short film? Why? I wish it was a short film. It was just a music video. We didn't have the budget for a short film. That was the hardest thing about us, is that we came from the school of Michael Jackson, but we didn't have the budget of Michael Jackson. I think artistic, it's just the reason why it was filmed in black and white. It wasn't converted to black and white. It was literally filmed in black and white film. So there is no color version. I remember with I Need You, it's one of the videos that I look at today and I cringe, only because there's this one scene that we're like on this turntable, like turning around. And when we pitched the idea, we wanted a helicopter shot of us on a hill, like in Sound of Music, just singing I Need You, like make it grandiose. And we realized, our mind versus budget didn't allow that to happen. And so that's what we ended up with. But yeah, we were thinking like, let's make this big, let's make this bigger than life and or larger than life. Now you can do it with drones and stuff like that, but back then, that just was not a possibility. Do I like sparkly things like Michael or like MJ? No, I like rhinestones when performing, 100%. Yeah, they add to it, and I love that. Yeah, and my uncles did that as well. The Jacksons, I grew up watching with them with rhinestones, so we incorporated rhinestones into our outfits as well. Favorite '80s cartoons: Transformers, Robotech, um, GI Joe, Thundercats. Um, what else? What else did I watch a lot of in '80s? Yeah, it was mainly those. And then my uncle, the '80s, he was working a lot, but he would ask us a lot about Transformers and stuff like that. And I've mentioned that before, that was one of the main inspirations for Moonwalker, was our love for Transformers, because we loved it a little too much, and we would talk to him always about it. And he was so excited when he told us that he was doing a short film / movie where he got to transform into a car and an airplane, and the car is in the end of, I think, Smooth Criminal, but it's a silhouette, but then the airplane is at the very end. And so that was one of the things that he was excited to tell us about. Why always on the go. No, and what do you think? Oh, what do I think about? What do you think of the other singer calling himself that? Is it could be? I didn't know about it until, like, I'm being very blunt and honest with you guys. He wrote a song for Lionel Richie that exploded, and I got this BMI check. BMI is like the company that for writing and all that stuff. And I saw the figure on that, and I almost passed out. I was like so excited, and then I realized it wasn't any of my songs. And so the hardest thing was having to report that wasn't me. But I saw what he made, and I was like, whoa, But yeah, that was the hard thing about it. But it is a little confusing and everything like that. But no, I mean, I don't wish anything on anyone. I hope he does very well. He's extremely talented. Yes, I have spoken. We interviewed Tom already, so Tom's been interviewed about the documentary, and he's incredible. He's such a fighter for my uncle. I'm so appreciative of him. He kept me up to date every day during the trial when I was living at Neverland. I would ask him, Tom, how's it going? And he would sit there and tell me. And I felt very confident, but then at the same time, I would turn on the TV when I would leave to go to the guest unit, and I was so frustrated because it was like they were painting this picture of doom. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, well, who's lying? Is it Tom or is it the media? And obviously we knew it was the media, but they made it seem like, oh, he's definitely going to jail and this and that. And it's only because it was one-sided, and they never told the truth, the media didn't, or they hid the other side, which is very similar to what Leaving Neverland did. Is they hid the other side that pokes holes at everything. So you only get a one-sided truth, which is not even a truth, one-sided lie, I should say. Yes, we did experience it. I can tell you, one of the things that my uncle is notorious for, and he used to get mad at it. When my uncle sung, he moved around a lot. He made a lot of noise, and we'd always say, isn't your headphones going to bleed, or isn't that going to be in the song and the track? He's like, yeah, but that gives it energy. And that's, he's like, you guys just stand there and sing. He was so surprised by that. I think we disappointed him, because he's moving around and we're over here just standing singing. And so, yeah, it's just, it's the difference between a master and a student in that way. But yeah. Have I ever heard any of your uncle's unreleased songs? Can you? A lot of them have been released now that we had heard in the past. So yeah, and I can't tell you the names of them because I honestly don't either know the names or I don't know what's has been released. Did your uncle have a favorite game console? My uncle knew about game consoles. He wasn't very good at video games. You know, he'd be mad at me telling you guys that because he always thought he was. He loved Sega though, as a company. He really loved Sega. And so, yeah, but I think you guys know that already. Yes, my uncle did love Charlie Chaplin. We watched a lot of Charlie Chaplin as well. He thought Charlie Chaplin was a genius. And I think that was one of the things as well. He was always so disappointed at the world for not knowing Charlie Chaplin or remembering Charlie Chaplin. And so yes, he loved Charlie Chaplin. My favorite superhero. It depends. I can tell you as a kid it was Incredible Hulk and Flash. You know, it's funny. I never was a Batman fan. I mean, I was, but I was not. I never. He was never my favorite. Superman was more my favorite than Batman, just because he was. I think I've realized my pattern as a kid growing up, and as an adult, I choose like the wholesome people a lot, like Superman, Luke over Han Solo. You know, which is another one. I don't know. I identify with that as opposed to, you know, yeah, it's just Superman over Batman, Captain America over Iron Man. So I'm very consistent in that way. Would I like? Yes, I would. Of course, I did not see his doc yet, and I feel embarrassed to say that because Rashida directed part of it. She was co-director on it, and I know she did an incredible job. And I haven't seen it though yet. It is one that I want to see. It's just I'm seeing more of the darker stuff now. I hate to say it like that, and then I'm gonna try and see more of the lighter stuff. But yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, we're getting to the end of this. Do I regret any 3T song being out there? If I did, I can't tell you. There are certain songs. There are certain songs that I don't care for, but then there are other people's favorite songs. So, you know, that's why we do it. I've learned that lesson. I've learned that just because you don't like a song doesn't mean someone else won't. And so, I wouldn't say I regret any songs being out there. I just, everyone has their favorites in that way. There's certain songs that we do today that I'm like, okay, I don't get it, but everyone else likes it. I'm not the best taste tester for that. Any 90s cartoon? I don't even know 90s cartoons. So, I mean, I'm probably trying to blank. Favorite sitcoms? 100% Seinfeld is one. Let's see, Seinfeld. Thinking the sitcom. I grew up in like the Silver Spoons, Facts of Life era, so I'm trying to think in terms of, Charles in Charge. I liked a lot back in the day. Favorite sitcoms. Friends I liked. I love Seinfeld way more than Friends. What other ones were there out there? Different World I liked. Oh, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, definitely like. Are those Simpsons? I don't know. No Captain Planet. I never never watched Captain Planet, so I don't know. I know exactly what it looks like. He-Man I liked a lot. Yeah, they're talking. Where I'm kind of scrolling now. Not talking about sitcoms. I was just so okay. Where am I at now? All right, let's close this up soon. How tall am I? I'm 5'9.5", almost 5'10". I would love to be 5'10". I'm not though. I think my uncle would always he always appreciated music in general in terms of what it was, and so I think that he would find the good in music, mainstream music today. But I honestly, I feel like if my uncle was around, music would be different. It wouldn't be what it is now anyway. He would have such an influence on it. So I don't think mainstream media of today would be what it is now with him around. So yeah, that's a. Do I think Johnny Depp did an incredible job as Edward Scissorhands, and I know my uncle loved that movie, and he loved Johnny Depp's portrayal of it. So I don't know. I think there's certain movies that I watch that I'm like my uncle. It rings true to me because it's something feels very close to what my uncle, in terms of people not understanding him and treating him a certain way. Edward Scissorhands is very close to that in terms of that. But I know Johnny Depp did such an incredible job in it. Like I remember that movie. Film gonna sound low. Okay, I'll fix it. The problem is that Prince laughs every once in a while, and it's so loud compared to everything else. Maybe I'll just have to start ducking Prince's laughs. He's got such an incredible laugh, but I don't want to blow out your guys' eardrum either. Married with Children I watched a lot. Yes. They said that they would help with the licensing, so that's what I'm going to go off of that in terms of it. But I also know that might be a Sony question too. All right, let's see. Yes, I did watch the show The Monkees. I loved it a lot. It really was. I would love to have FBI agents who worked on the case. I don't know if that's allowed. I would love that to be, in terms of the ones that aren't biased and that are still trying to frame him on something that he didn't do. I think the ones because there was such a need to try and nail him. I think either for publicity or for points that they were trying to do that. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much. I think that because I'm trying to think. I don't watch the History Channel at all, so yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I hope I answered most of the questions. I'll be doing this again soon because I think it's a great way to keep in contact with you guys. And while we're all here at home, I think it's a great way to pass time as well. So thank you guys so much for this. And if you have still questions, keep them for next time because I will be coming back to this. So just remember those and I'll try and get to those as well. But thank you guys so much for this. And I know hopefully I didn't bore you too much.